All for joining us today. My name is Nancy Chen, and I'm the current chair of the ASN Diversity Committee. On behalf of the Tri-Society Diversity Committees, I'm very excited to welcome you all to Story Collider. We first had Story Collider at Evolution in 2019, and it was by far the most impactful conference event we've ever had. So we are so happy to have them return. Before we begin the show, I wanted to thank the 4 amazing storytellers we will be hearing from shortly. Thank you also to Gina Balcom and the many people who worked really hard to first bring Story Collider to Evolution 2 years ago, as well as SSE, SSB, and ASN for sponsoring this event again this year. So in addition to Story Collider, the Tri-Society DCs have organized a number of mixers and symposia, and I'd like to thank everyone on those committees, especially SSE Diversity Committee co-chair Kathy Rushworth, for all of the hard work they've put into making this conference successful. We are planning to have a Tri-Society DEI symposium at Evolution next year and potentially some other programming, and we hope that you will continue to participate in these events. We really want to hear your ideas for how to make our community more inclusive and equitable, so please do feel free to reach out to members of the 3 diversity committees at any point. Making a more inclusive society starts with forming community. To do so, we need to be talking to one another, sharing our stories, and cheering each other on, because stories matter. We hope you enjoy this event.
All right, thank you so much, Nancy. We are so excited to be here hosting this show. We'll intro ourselves really quick, then acquaint you with this bizarre platform you're all on. I'm Katie. I am one of your hosts tonight.
Oh, that's all we're gonna say. Hi, I'm Emma. I'm also one of your hosts tonight. I'm gonna be razzing Katie throughout the evening.
That's fine. Like, what would you like me to? Why don't you tell them what they should know about me?
Oh no. Katie is a very funny, sarcastic person who gives me a lot of life. You will enjoy the many polls tonight. The ones that will make you laugh were written by her. I think that's what for people to know.
Okay, well, the boring, like, day job stuff about me, I'm a staff writer at The Atlantic, but I'm also a Story Collider producer. Emma?
I am a biologist at the Fish and Wildlife Service, and I'm a grad student trying to finish my PhD in biology, and I am also a Story Collider producer. So we are the people of many hats.
And, what we have in common is Story Collider, which hopefully you sort of kind of started to figure out by now. We are a storytelling organization. We are here to bring you some true personal stories from 4 amazing storytellers tonight. They all have something to do with science, but the ways in which they intersect with science will be very, very, very different. As you can probably tell, we are virtual tonight, as many of the things you've been doing this week are. And so we are 2-dimensional. This is a very weird room that we're in, but we want to try and get you guys at home feeling at home as possible, which is what I intend to say when my words do not fail me. Many of you have already found this lovely chat function on the side of the screen. So we as hosts unfortunately cannot hear or see or smell you, which I am really regretting right now.
Fortunate that last part is, but yeah, whatever floats your boat, Katie.
And we've got a bunch of little buttons at the bottom of the screen here so that we can interact with you as much as we can. We're going to be putting up some polls. There's already one up there if you haven't answered it already about your previous experience with Story Collider. There's a ton of you here, and that is incredibly exciting. But let's just talk really quickly about what to expect tonight. What is going to happen when we start sharing these stories, Emma? What can people expect from our show structure and what they're going to hear?
So it's going to be, you're going to laugh, you might cry. It's okay to feel a spectrum of emotions, but we are going to have 4 different stories tonight, and they're going to range really widely between happy, sad, funny, etc., ridiculous. There's always some ridiculousness, which is my favorite. And we are going to be kind of checking in throughout the night with the polls and the chat to be able to see what you guys are up to and what you guys are thinking. So there will be a little interactive component. So yeah,
The show is also going to end in a lovely Q&A session, which you, of course, don't have to stick around for. I mean, really, you don't even have to stick around for this, though I hope you do. The wonderful thing about the Q&A is as questions come to you for our storytellers, please just drop them in this little Ask a Question bin at the bottom of your screen, which is to the left of this poll button. Just click that lovely red, orange colored button and ask your question. We would love to hear from you. Emma and I will moderate the Q&A at the end. It's another great way to be engaged with our storytellers tonight. As Emma said, our stories are really going to run the gamut tonight. Some topics will be a little more sensitive than others. We just want to give fair warning of that. But I think that is part of the power of storytelling. If you at any point as someone in the audience want to step away from the show for a little bit, we fully endorse that. We want you to feel every aspect of the show. We want it to inspire you. We want it to make you feel more connected with people on and off stage. So we are incredibly excited about that. What am I forgetting, Emma?
That we're super excited to be at the Evolution 2021 conference. As Nancy already said, this is a joint meeting, as you guys know, of ASN, SSE, and SSB. And we're just super thrilled to be involved. I myself am a reluctant community ecologist with evolutionary sort of leanings in my work. So I'm just super jazzed to be here, having a little nerd out.
Speaking of super nerdy stuff, I'm kind of excited to get our next poll up here.
Yes.
And you may notice that there is a little red 1 next to the poll function down there. Click on it and please answer this question. I want to hear what you got to say. Our question for you is, if you could choose any reproductive strategy, what would it be? Binary fission, parthenogenesis, I don't care as long as I get to lay eggs, or I'll stick with good old sex, thanks. I don't know. What's it going to be? I feel like there's a couple options pulling ahead here, and I feel like this is very telling of our audience. Nobody really wants to clone themselves, and I don't know. Well, okay, I guess arguably our top 2 options are, clonal enough, but nobody's really into the binary fission. Anyway.
As an ornithologist, I want to lay eggs, but I respect everyone else's choices. I also see from our first chat that a ton of folks here are first timers. So welcome. We're super excited for you guys to be here. And we're also really excited for all the folks who've joined us before. So great mix of folks in the audience tonight.
Absolutely. Let's get our first storyteller up here, because I want to hear her thoughts on this beautiful poll that is still just chugging along here.
Good to hear Linda's thoughts. So before we introduce our first storyteller, I just want to sort of cast out a request to you guys to try to be present in the moment with us throughout the stories tonight. I know you probably got a lot going on at home. You got kids, pets, might have another monitor open where you're trying to do a little work on the side, prep your talk. But we encourage you to kind of, just try to focus on just the stories if you can, so you can kind of dig better into the connection that we're trying to cultivate with y'all tonight. And with that, I would like to introduce our first storyteller of the night. Very excited. Her name is Linda Sue Lassiter. She's a PhD student at Northern Arizona University, and she's studying paleontology there. She is a former naval officer and software engineer doing retirement the right way. She studies early Paleozoic fossils, but she loves fossils of all varieties. And fun fact, she's been to the North Pole. Please welcome Linda to the stage. Hi, Linda.
Hi. How is everybody?
Doing good. Doing real good. So, Linda, tell us what your chosen reproductive strategy would be.
Well, I kept trying to look for all of the above. They're all terrific reproductive mechanisms, but all of the above. We're all scientists here.
That's a very good answer, Linda.
Yeah, very diplomatic answer. I mean, it's also arguably the most successful answer. You will never go without a mate, or you need a mate. I love the flexibility here.
Still team eggs, but it's fine. All right, Linda, are you ready to share your story with us?
I am ready. And I have another monitor up there. That's why I look up there. But when I'm telling my story, I don't want to see myself. So.
That is very fair and a very common occurrence, believe it or not. Nobody wants to look at their own face. So, all right. Well, we will just be listening with delight and rapture.
Okay, thank you. It was a year ago, 2020, when I saw this text and a whole bunch of flurry of emails from Zeke. He was a student in one of my paleontology classes, and he was really excited because he thought he might have found some fossil tracks outside his family ranch. Fossils or not, this was a much needed reprieve from the last 4 months of stay at home and hide, as I was trying to avoid COVID because it was killing people like me, you know, my age, retirement age. This planet sweeping pandemic totally changed my priorities. My number one priority was to survive. That's it, survive. And the university was saying, you're going to have to teach in person. I said, not me. No. You know, I was going to turn down the assistantship just to stay safe. But, you know, it costs a lot of money to go to work on your PhD. And my husband had just lost his job because of COVID too. So I couldn't do field work, right? Couldn't leave the state. The museums were closed. I couldn't go see my grandkids in Kansas, and their parents too, of course. But this sounded like a really good excuse to get out of the house. I grabbed my nature-loving husband, and I was going to support Zeke in his enthusiasm for paleontology. So as we were bouncing over these rough cobbled water, you know, washboard back roads and getting our masks ready and going through security gates and down these steep hills and mesquite, really scrubby looking mesquite. Then all of a sudden there was pasture and cattle and horses and lots of buildings. And then I saw Zeke, and he had this big grin on his face. And it really helped me to forget about that monster risk and unpredictability stuff I was worrying about earlier. I opened up the car door and welcomed that oven blast of heat from central Arizona. And Zeke says, let's take the mule. Mule? Well, thankfully it was an off-road utility vehicle, you know, like a golf cart on steroids. So I called shotgun, and my husband clambered in the back in the cargo bin, and off we went, and windy, dusty, and up more hills, and across a rickety bridge, and over a deep ravine, and down the other side. And then I finally got to the site. Zeke went running off, the young whippersnapper, and you know, I was just trying to soak in, look at the environment. Cliffs, and the rocks had no vegetation, and there were no clouds in the sky. The rocks looked like somebody had stacked up vanilla ice cream in scoops, and it was, of course, melting down towards the river because it was wicked hot. Well, then I thought, okay, science brain, let's look at the rocks. So I looked down and I saw one, a track, okay, a footprint. And it had, it was about 10 centimeters wide, longer than wide, 2 pads, didactyl, like a deer or an elk. Bummer. Is this just a living animal? But then I thought, how would they get here? I mean, I just went through a lot to get here. I don't know. Okay, look at the rock. Look at the rock. Okay, fine crystals. Oh, there's some tiny mafic crystals in there. So this is pyroclastic volcanic rock. Right. I never look for fossils in volcanic rock. You know, volcanoes spew out stuff that's 1200 degrees Celsius. You don't look for living or dead things in volcanic rock. So I started thinking, well, where's the closest volcano? Oh, 6 miles, 10 kilometers east of here. And it was active 10 to 15 million years ago. Whoa, could this be Miocene age? So what would this track be? I helped with some glyptodons, you know, those Volkswagen-sized armadillos, in a dig about 100 miles from here. But locally, there were camels roamed this part of Arizona. Oh, They're called camelids, and since it's an ichthyofossil, it's actually got its own ichnogenus and whatever. By then, you know, I heard everybody yelling, "Here's one! Here's one! Oh, look at this one!" And I was in kid mode. It's a treasure hunt. That's why paleontology is so much fun. And I was running around with everybody, and I kind of forgot about how hot it was for a bit. But then everybody kind of disappeared, and Zeke said, you got to see this other one. So I took the last draft from my big hydration pack. The water was already hot, but I looked at this track and I thought, no, this isn't a camelid. It's got a big pad, and it's about the size of my palm, and it's got 4 littler pads. And what could that be? A sloth? No. A dog. Too big. A cat. A cat? Yeah, there are cougars in the Grand Canyon. This could be a carnivore. Kid imagination is now engaged as I could see this giant cat slowly stalking the unwary camelids as they were crunching through the volcanic crust, trying to get to water, and beep, beep, beep. That with the last of my camera batteries. Everything's overheated. It's a clue, Linda. It's time to go. In the air-conditioned comfort of the car on the way back, I started trying to figure out how I was going to get permission through a National Forest Service to go do these tracks in a pandemic. And then I thought, oh, my advisor's not going to like me taking on another project. You know what I mean? And then the anxiety kind of came back because I had to deal with school and all that stuff. But I quickly got some permission requests in, and before you knew it, a month had passed. I was online, and the rains had started, the monsoon rains, and I thought, ooh, what would rains do to those tracks? Maybe we should get back down there because we still didn't have permission. Zeke and I got to the site, and oh no, all the trackways were underwater, pretty rapidly flowing water too. And we started kind of running around, not with that old enthusiasm, but with panic. Now, where were these tracks? And we were looking, we were looking in the water, and we couldn't find them. And it dawned on me, all those tracks we had seen in July were gone. They were gone. Now I wasn't panicked. I just had this horrible feeling of helplessness. I don't know, I thought I was going to cry. So I sat down and tipped my big desert hat down so Zeke couldn't see that I was fighting back these tears. And I thought, Linda, you're a failure. You're a failure as a mentor. You're a failure as a paleontologist. Why did you? The pain was so deep. Waiting for that permit was like waiting for the vaccine. You know, nothing seemed predictable or right anymore. And now I lost this amazing find. Waiting, you know, it just hurt. It just hurt. And I thought, you know, I just want to go dig out every single fossil I can find right now. I'm not going to wait for a permit. I'm just going to do it. No, I can't. I can't give up. I'm just going to help Zeke to do this the right way, or I'm not going to do it at all. Lead by example, follow the rules, called the Forest Service. We got back out. Well, they gave us a permit in September, but you know what happened in September? The campus was filled with COVID. Yeah, and not only that, the ranch was too. Zeke's family had COVID. The ranch was in quarantine. What good is permission if you can't safely get to the site? That precious geologic moment, frozen in time and preserved for millions of years, exposed for just a little bit of time, washed away and was gone. But what wasn't gone was that pain of the loss, and the anger, and the frustration at all the obstacles that got thrown into my life and mixed in with a lot of woulda, coulda, shoulda, you know that. And then also I got to admit, I'm a little bit worried about how people are going to react to me after hearing my story. But, now I just need a little bit of courage. I need to be brave like those camelids were as they passed an active volcano and seeking safety or water. This old gal is still kicking. I'm not a fossil yet. So I have my vaccination. Virus or not, there's work to be done.
Oh, Linda, gosh, every time I hear this story, I feel like I am just transported into that chapter of your life. I love it.
Zeke is very lucky to have you setting an example for him too. So, yeah.
Thank you. It still hurts.
Yeah.
I like to get offers of people to come help me with the fossils. Thank you.
Well, you've got some fans in the chat. I imagine and people will be willing to walk to Arizona to help you. Give us a shout out if you would like to come help Linda do some digging.
Yeah, you want to do some fossil hunting in Arizona?
If you all have any questions for Linda, you can go ahead and drop those in the Ask a Question box, and Linda will be back at the end of the show to do our Q&A with us. So thank you so much, Linda.
All right. See ya.
See you later.